ladies here have some kind of dealing with church. We're in ministry or active in church, and we all love fashion. So I know many other women out there have the same issues that we have come across the same kind of things we come across. So we're just going to talk about some things that we've dealt with. We hope we can help you. We're going to also give you some tips. Let me introduce you to our special guest today. This is my sister, Aisha, and this is another PK, Caressa, and she's here with us to share some of her experiences. Caressa, I don't know about you, but my sister and I, when we were younger, we dealt with a lot of their clothes are too tight, their clothes are too this. And we were, I felt like we were kids.
Yeah, we were like trying to develop. We were trying to develop a style.
Right.
We didn't know, but we knew we liked heels, but we wanted to start wearing them, and we were kind of doing the jeans and heels, you know, and it too tight. The jeans are too tight. They got on heels. They're, you know, and it was a little, and their breasts sitting up like this.
Yeah. You know, we were like, so what do we do? You know, so we dealt with it. Did you deal with any of that?
Yeah, I dealt with it more when I was older.
Okay.
It wasn't, too much when I was younger. When we were younger, our parents had so like,
the dresses.
Right.
Right.
Stuff like that. So it wasn't
Until you were older.
until I was older.
Yes.
Too tight or, too revealing or, but my dad was not just like, right, got out of the house.
Right. If it was too bad.
Right, sometimes we didn't make it to the church.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess the thing was, I just always felt like people felt like we didn't have parents, in a sense. And the reason why I say that because they would talk about what we had on, and I'm like, do you think our parents would let us come out,
To church.
looking a certain way? I'm like, do y'all think that the kind of parents that just be like, oh, it don't matter? No, so I was like, really?
I think it's just more difficult being a PK's child because they look at you more than anything.
Right.
Somebody else will see next to you have on the same thing and they'll tell you something before they tell everybody else.
Right.
Right. It's just more title, I guess.
Yeah, that makes people be more on you.
Right.
And I guess it became difficult even like you said, once you got a little older. Things change and you sprout into the person. Not only the person, the woman. You know how we develop as women. People see you as a child because you grew up in this situation and now you're an adult, and then
Things don't look the same.
and I actually had a situation where I wore a white dress to church. And I was nervous about it. So I asked somebody, and not somebody our age, somebody like 40. I tried it on for her. I was like, tell me how this looks, because if it's not, I won't wear it, because my mom and dad were out of town. And she was like, oh, you're fine. And she's the kind of person that will tell me. I know who to go to get what I need, not just what I need to hear, but I want to hear what I need to hear. So she was like, no, you're good. And a lady pulled me to the side, and she was like, come with me to another lady. She's like, because I need a witness. When she said that, I knew it was going to be something crazy. And she was like, this dress is inappropriate. I can see the print of your belly ring, and, we don't need to tempt the men. And I was like, what? And I wore that same exact dress in black. I wanted to see if she was going to tell me something then, and she did. So I was like, okay, maybe you can keep colors in mind.
Right.
But I think people have a problem with young women. I'm like, I'm 25. At that time, I was like 22 or 23. So I was less understanding. I've gotten much better now. But I'm like, okay, I've literally given my life to ministry and to the church. And you want me to look like grandma. I can't do that.
I think it's hard for maybe church women, especially, to accept like
The mothers.
to see single women because they always feel like, okay, she's gonna come here and take our husbands,
That's right.
Yeah, and that's how it is. And even though I know people wear stuff too tight, too small, like our mother always told us, it's a thin line between too small and too tight.
Yeah.
And and she was talking about our clothes too small. She told us about our clothes too small because she said y'all give yourselves no room for margin. Meaning, if you gain 5 pounds, you can't fit this skirt because it's so tight. Well, when you get older, you learn about tailoring, and you learn about different, things. But I think the women get so defensive because look at the men looking at them. But I think if you have a big booty, the men gonna look at you if you have a tight dress. Or they're gonna look. That's nasty. Sometimes I look up like, I can't even. I have to. You know. Right. So I mean, I think it's the way they accept women, especially single women.
Yes.
Not to speak as the single women, because
Right.
also single women in churches are looked on a certain way.
Yes.
Because they're automatically, what is she get? Because it's so, So I think that's the thing that most older church women need to kind of come up with,
Right.
Right. It's a different generation now. They don't realize that we don't dress the same way that they do.
Right.
And on top of that, our assets,
Right.
that's something we can't hide.
Right, exactly, right. And there was something my dad always says this. He was like, it was a woman who used to go to his church way back, and he was like, she wore her skirts to her ankles, literally, but had 10 children. Because sometimes people think, well, they're dressed. So no, she wasn't married. But people will be like, oh, she's dressed that way, so she's hot, or so you get that label. And he was like, no.
Right.
That has nothing to do with the price of tea and shine. Trust me, I'm a witness of somebody who looked the part, but obviously wasn't playing the part. What are some things that you've dealt with, or some things you think about when you get dressed for church? Because you're shaped more than me. She has a shape. Now I'm top heavy, but I know some of the women probably be like giving you the same guy.
I take into consideration how my pencil skirts fit, because I love to wear a pencil skirt to church. But honestly, there's an usher in church who brings my handkerchief every Sunday.
We're going to let what you have.
Now I'm to the point where as I'm passing her, I'm going to church. I mean, I don't think she means any harm by it, but I'm not going to wear a skirt to my ankles. I'm just not. It's just not my style.
Yeah.
But I do take into consideration the fit of my skirt.
Right. And that's important. I'm not saying that we should just come busting in like going to the club or we're, something inappropriate. But for a long time when I first really got active in ministry, everything was so specific. I couldn't wear my arms out. I couldn't wear this. So I just started wearing a black maxi dress every week because I was like, this is so much easier than trying to abide by everybody's rules. And I did that for a couple of months. But then I found myself depressed, and I didn't know why. Because fashion is so much a part of who I am. When I stifled that, I was just depressed because I was wearing it. I was just like, whatever, at first. But as the time went on, I was like, this is not real. It's boring. Right. And I couldn't do it. And I wanted to do it more to please people and to get people's mouth off of me to say, okay, what they gonna say about this? But I just couldn't do it. And once I came out of that whole funk, I was like, you know what? Like I said, I'm young. I'm gonna be appropriate, but I'm not trying to be fun, but I'm not married. So I'm still on the market. So I need to look like I'm on the market. You know what I mean? You need to feel good about how you look.
Yeah.
So that has a lot to do with it. Because men, not just men, but people, period, when they see you, how you carry yourself, that makes a big difference on how they feel about you. That's why those women don't like confident women.
Right.
Because they feel threatened. Nobody has to tell me I look good. When I walk in the room with my head held high, you feel threatened. But I can't help that because I'm not waiting for anybody to amen me. I'm looking in the mirror, I'm looking in the mirror, I'm listening on amen myself and strut on in there with my head held high. But it's not about the church, that's just about who I am.
Right.
And that's what my mom always taught us. Don't let anybody have to validate you. You feel pretty, you are pretty. And I had a breakdown. I'm going to share this with the audience because I had foot surgery. So I have to wear tennis shoes for 3 months. And I got dressed to go to a fashion show. And I had the outfit all in my mind, even with the tennis shoes. But when I tried it on, I instantly felt I can't even explain. So I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, so I'm in the car tearing up. And I was like, really? Am I really tearing up over some shoes? And I was just like, this is just not how I feel right. So I called my mama and she was like, come here first and let me just see you. And she was like, nothing's wrong with you. And I'm like, Ma, I just feel, I put my shoes on and you just, and she was like, pretty is from here up. And that helped me. Because even though I think I'm pretty, something about a pair of shoes, you put your heels on, you're walking tall, it just makes you feel good. So it's not a church thing per se, but it was something that I felt depleted who I was. So my mom helped me, and that is a new quote. Beauty is from the neck up, ladies. Don't let those things, trap you.
Right.
And how you feel. Still do you. I walked in that place with my head held high. I didn't look down at my shoes. But we're going to give you a few of our tips, a few things that we do when going to church, when thinking about going to church, and maybe we can help some other people out. Let's go. Handkerchief. Ladies, I have one in my purse because I know I have one in my purse because I went to a visiting church with my dad. I'm not gonna lie. The lady walked up, she was like, "You don't need this, baby." I said, "No, what happened?" I know she was like that. And it was early in the morning. It was early.
So you're not gonna get to me.
Right.
I'm already prepared.
I said, "No, what happened?" Because the church mothers will do that to you in the details of
Yes. It's up tomorrow.
I'm happy.
Yes.
But for people who don't go to church that much, when you go to funerals, I know you may not even know where to get a handkerchief from, but you can do a man's handkerchief. It doesn't have to be
like K&G or something.
Right.
Just
just something
something
to cover
here.
up.
No bandana.
No bandana.
Just about the size of a bandana. Right. About the size of a bandana.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be huge. Just something to cover. Something about knees in the church house makes the mothers nervous.
What is that?
I don't know. And my mom always says a handkerchief or something over your legs for people who don't know how to sit. Because she likes to,
Right.
my mom, hers be inching up. I'd be like, Mother, that is a little
Right. So we were
short.
at a conference.
Yeah.
And one of the pastor's wives, she was sitting on, and she's real crispy.
Yes.
Real dainty.
Very
real
classy.
crispy. And she was sitting with her legs, and they had to have it, and she said, "Oh my God, you got to sit." And gave it back.
Right.
And I guess they were so shocked, but she's very crispy, very dainty.
Yes.
She's so cute.
She
So,
is. She's
but I think that her skirt wasn't short, it's probably about here.
Right. But
But-
just her knees.
Right. It's like the knees, they say the knees make them up as nerve.
Yeah. Something about the knees that.
And the men, I guess.
Maybe because I sit on the front row. Is that it?
And that's,
Maybe so. Because sometimes I'll see people, if they're up towards the front, they get the hurry up and cover up.
Right.
And the people further in the back, they
Right.
know,
Okay. Okay.
I'm saying the front knees and all.
Yeah.
So what would be a tip I that you would give when people are thinking about getting dressed in church? And
I guess I would say undergarments. Because undergarments have always been my best friend. Now some undergarments, I would wear the same dress out, to a party or, out with friends, but I may not wear undergarments.
right.
But my mother always told us wear undergarments because even though you're slender, even though they smooth you.
Right.
You
And
know,
you don't shake.
and you don't shake as much. And I think people lack undergarments in church. We'll wear certain garments like Paris said, she loves a pencil skirt.
Right.
I have a stretch pencil skirt, but if I don't wear a garment with it, I'm
Inappropriate.
yeah. Anyway, right. And I think that's the small things that in church that may make the difference. I don't think it's just the outfit or
Right.
the clothing.
Right.
I think sometimes it's what we wear under it that doesn't really make us just like, oh,
Right.
she let
Right. She's jiggling all over the place.
Right.
That's a good tip, regardless, ladies. Undergarments.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that includes girdles.
Girdles. And they have such a big line now.
Right.
They're called girdles, smooth,
Spanx.
shaper, Spanx. And you can get Spanx cheap. I mean, you can go
Yeah.
like to places like Marshalls and
Ross.
Ross and get them. You may have to search for them.
Right.
But,
They
you
be
know,
worth it.
yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, but when people hear girdle or they hear undergarments, they think it's fat.
Right.
But that's not what it's about. Ladies, women, our parts move, and that's just the way it is.
Kim Kardashian has claimed her favorite piece of clothing is a Spanx.
Right.
And on Hollywood, they layer them.
But because Beyonce was like, I wear 3 Spanx. I'm like, I don't know how the heck you get that.
Adele just wore 4 pairs of Spanx to the Grammys.
What? I don't understand how they layer the Spanx.
Me
I'm
neither.
trying. Right.
Right.
So I feel
You went to the club and church.
I was wrong.
Right.
It's all
That's,
wrong.
Yeah.
Right. It's something that you will wear to the club. You don't wear that to church.
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah, and it's a thin, it can be a thin line, you know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't take much though to transform an outfit. Me and Paris say all the time on the show how we love a blazer. Because a blazer works so well with so many pieces. It can be a dress that's completely kind of church inappropriate, but when you put something over it,
Right.
it gives you a little more class and it pulls you together. The lunging neck tops, you know, that's kind of something to stay away from. Or just get a million camels. Because that's my number one thing, kind of, because it will save you every time. Me too. You know, so just think about little things, and we were talking earlier, and I never really thought about this, but the shoes make a difference on how sexy the outfit feels. So I love a platform. I'm into the platform thing. My sister loves a pump. A pump is probably the more appropriate for church if the outfit is on the line. If the outfit is perfectly church appropriate, do whatever shoes you want to do.
Right.
Because, you know, it doesn't matter. The outfit is fine. You need to jazz it up a little bit. But if the outfit is kind of on the line, the pumps will maybe bring it down some so it's not so sexy. You know, so that's something that you can think about when choosing the shoe selection. And surprisingly, even how you do your makeup, that's a big thing too. You don't want to look smoky eye, suggest nighttime.
Yes.
So if you're going to do a smoky eye, they have natural smoky eyes. If you're darker skin, you can do a brown smoky eye. And it won't look like black and so strong and so like a club look. If you have lighter skin, you can still use browns, but you can go up to the tans and the, you know, lighter browns. And that'll bring you up so you don't look so much like nighttime.
Right.
You know, people, it's not the easiest thing dealing with church and being fashionable and want to wear different things, but they're little tricks of the trade. You know, they're little things that you can easily get around if you just kind of consider it. And what I said, if you look in the mirror, and if your grandmother would say, tis, 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 take it off. Even though, like she was saying, we're different, a little bit different now. You know, so fashion is a little bit different, things are a little bit different, but it's okay to be fashionable and love the Lord. You know, because we all do, and we want to look and feel good when we go to church, just like when we go anywhere else. So, you know, if you all have tips, trust me, please send them in. We would love to continue this conversation and to see if we were of any help to you, because this has been an issue for me for a long, long time. And after I say this, I'm going to wrap it up. But I can talk forever, y'all know about fashion, but due to the constant going to look for appropriate pieces for church, being in a certain ministry, having to wear a certain thing, I would go to the mall and I would look for a dress to wear. And either it would be appropriate length, but it was plunging or it was sleeveless, or it would be too short, long sleeve at the top. So I just had a lot of trouble finding the perfect match. So I kept telling my sister, I was like, we're going to have to do something. And that's where the name of this episode came from, a church girl, because I want to do a clothing line called a church girl. And it would not just appeal to church women, but business women as well. Because business women have the same issues as church women have. That's inappropriate. She's too sexy for the workplace.
And who can afford? Like, if women can afford to do double closets,
Right.
where they could buy their church closet, their work closet, and their, you know, their nighttime or their fun closet,
Right.
then we would. But we can't afford
To have 12 different clothes.
That's
Right.
why you have to mix and match and put
And-
different pieces.
Right. And it's so easy for a man. And they don't understand the plight that we deal with, you know. So I was like, you know what, we need a line that kind of appeals to that business, church woman, or even if she's just kind of conservative. Because really, I am not conservative at all. You know, not very conservative. I am, but I'm not. I'll wear a short dress. I'm not going to wear something short and plunging. But I'll wear something short. I like my legs. But I'll also wear a plunging neckline with something long because, you know, it is what it is. So,
That kind of balance.
right. You know, it's just a the balance. So the line would appeal to that person. I love dresses. I love dresses because they're easy. It's a one-stop shop. I don't have to look on the top. You know, so tops are, dresses are easy. So it would be a lot of dresses in the line. Everything wouldn't be long sleeve, everything wouldn't even have a sleeve in it, but there would be blazers and different mix and match pieces that you can take and create your church look, your work look, but still have a fabulous black dress that you can wear to a party and that kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm thinking about it and trying to develop some things. So we shall see. I'm excited about that though, because like I said, we have these issues and I'm sure many other women have too. We're not by ourselves. So like I said, I want to continue this conversation. I would love people to give us their tips because I know it's a ton of other fashionable people that love church, love the Lord, in ministry, PKs. So go on our Facebook page and send us some of your advice and we'll go back and forth and we'll help each other out through this journey. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, style is a gift.